Welcome to FJ Chat. I'm sitting here with Malcolm Johns, the CEO of Christchurch International Airport, and what I want to talk to him about is what is going on in tourism at the moment. We seem to be on some sort of tear. What's happening?
Well, Kia ora first. Tourism's going through a purple patch. There's no question about that. We've got a recovering western set of economies. We've got a burgeoning middle class in Asia. We've got very low fuel prices, and we've got very aggressive airline activity, and we're a pretty desirable place to visit at the moment. We're safe, we're secure, we're comfortable, we're friendly, and there's not many places in the world that can tick that, all of those boxes at once.
So is our bottom of the world suddenly becoming a positive as opposed to, we're miles away from it?
Well, bottom of the world's a relative term, isn't it? Because if you're in Asia, it's a bit different to Europe, for example. And Asia's really the powerhouse of the growth that's occurring at the moment, although we shouldn't forget North America. And in Asia, you can go east to the US, west to Europe, or south to Australasia. And with the security challenges that are in Europe at the moment, a lot of them are heading to this part of the world.
Okay, and so the airlines have got that desire, but they've also got a capacity issue in terms of saying they've got spare capacity as well. So it's sort of a double thing going on.
Yeah, what happens with low fuel prices is that airlines order aircraft a long way in advance, and we've got a new generation of aircraft coming into service with the A350s, the 787s, the next generation 777s, etc., the A380s. And so airlines had targeted this period in time to release a lot of older aircraft and bring in new aircraft into their fleet. And so what they're doing is delaying the release of that older aircraft, and so you're getting not only the wave of new capacity coming into the market, very fuel efficient, but you're also getting the older, less fuel efficient aircraft being left in service longer. And so North America is a good example where retiring an older aircraft on domestic routes now seems further away because of the low fuel prices. So a 747 at our fuel prices at the moment makes sense to fly. But at 100 US a barrel for oil doesn't make sense to fly. And so those aircraft are being held in service longer, so you're getting the sort of double whammy of available capacity in the air network. Overlaid on top of that is the security situation in Europe, which is meaning that holidaying in Europe is less desirable for Asians. So they're looking for other places, and North America and Australasia are the primary beneficiaries of that at the moment.
And so if we look at those as targeted markets, is there a distinct difference in terms of the time that they stay, average spend, those sorts of things between those distinct markets?
Yeah, as the middle class in Asia grows, you are finding a higher quality visitor to New Zealand. Our big challenge in New Zealand is how we move ourselves up the value chain. Our hotels have become significantly more expensive now than they were 2 years ago, but compared to Sydney or Singapore or places like that, they're still very cheap. And so we've still got some way to go in terms of moving ourselves up the value chain, but we're moving in the right direction, and that visitor spend is growing faster than visitor arrivals are. So the country is becoming wealthier per visitor than it was 2 years ago. But we still have that challenge of continuing to deliver a premium product. And that requires a mind shift in the way that we think about things, from a Kiwi perspective. We're very egalitarian. We like everybody to have access to everything. And, one of the fundamental rules in business is if you can restrict access to something that people desire, the price goes up. And so, the Great Walks in New Zealand are a really good example. They are world class, they are premium products, and if we had twice as many and we charged appropriately, made those areas exclusive to only those that have bought capacity on them, then you could probably fund the Dock Estate, for example, through just the Great Walks experience in New Zealand. And you've got to remember the Department of Conservation has a third of New Zealand's landmass, and it generates something like $45 million of commercial revenue off that every year, and it could easily be generating $100 to $200 million a year for the dock estate off the back of the Great Walks products. And so we do have to think differently about how we move ourselves up that value chain.
So if we've got this sector that is burgeoning and is people coming in, where does Christchurch International sit in the picture of New Zealand tourism?
Sure. I mean, for us, we reset our strategies 2.5 years ago. Our staff here and the people that work here are very passionate about the South Island. They're proud to be from the South Island, and they believe that what they do here makes a difference to somebody's visit to the South Island. For a lot of visitors to the South Island, will be the first or last smile you see when you visit us, and so we wanted to capture that, and so we've encapsulated that as we want to be a champion airport, an airport that champions the social and economic prosperity of the South Island and its contribution to New Zealand. And so we set ourselves three primary objectives. One is we wanted to apply leadership. We wanted to build ambition in terms of what we could deliver from the visitor sector in the South Island, and we wanted to build capability as well. And so in pursuing being a champion airport, we have looked at how we bring leadership, ambition and capability to Christchurch Airport, Christchurch City and the South Island of New Zealand.
So being a gateway to the South,
yes,
means that, and I like that, first and last smile. So that, to me, means that sort of getting people in, do the tour of the South and exit out of here is a deliberate strategy.
Very deliberate strategy, yeah. Over 2/3 of our international passengers through this airport are visiting the South Island. They're not coming to our airport and they're not coming to our city. They're coming to the South Island. We know from national research that the South Island is still the primary attractor to New Zealand for the majority of visitors. And so for us, in order to build that social and economic dividend for New Zealand, we need the South Island to play a greater role in terms of delivering that value and being that attractive feature.
So if you look at that in the powerhouse of the South, then there are two drivers in that as well, aren't there? Queenstown and yourself. So how does that work? Are you different products and different...
Yeah. Queenstown is not the South Island, and the South Island is not Queenstown. And so when we look at the people that use Christchurch as an entry-exit point, they're focused on the South Island.
Yep.
They're visiting, on average, 6 other regions in the South Island. Queenstown as an entry point is largely Australians going for a long weekend or a week in Queenstown. And so
it's more deliberate in and out.
Very deliberate, very in and out. Whereas we know that 2/3 of the international visitors that come through our airport will visit Queenstown, whereas less than 18% that come into New Zealand via Queenstown will visit another region. And so, people are very deliberately going to a destination in Queenstown, and they are very deliberately going to a destination in the South Island, and they see the two as quite different.
With this sort of growth, are you capacity constrained in terms of land, flights?
We're not capacity constrained in terms of land. We have 1,000 hectares of land here. Our airfield is set up for any aircraft that flies in the world, be it military or commercial at the moment, or is planned to fly in the world in the near term. So we have no constraints in terms of the types of aircraft that we can handle. In terms of our terminal facility, we will have to make it much more productive than it is right now if we're going to handle our share of the growth over the next decade.
And to give them the experience that you're articulating.
Absolutely. If we want to be that first and last smile on a visit to the South Island of New Zealand, then enhancing that customer experience is going to be a very deliberate investment point for us as a business.
Superb. Thanks so much for your time. We're really
You're welcome.
interested in what's been going on in Christchurch, and it's some story. We'll put some links on underneath to, I think, a very aspirational video, which probably articulates some of the things that you're talking about those visions of the South. Thanks so much for your time, mate.
You're welcome.